All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, people of the internet, random folks out there who may be watching this live or afterwards, welcome to the Patriots Only Please podcast. My name is Jeff Saltano. This is Michael Soli in the beautiful and ever-evolving Soli Studios.
We're getting
I'm digging
there.
how it's coming along, man.
Thank you very much.
It really is. And, of course, we have Mr. Tiago Guzzi, who is helping us. And would you care to introduce your lovely assistant, because it would be wrong for me to do it.
I would. Azura. We'll just leave it at that. Azura. She's doing the TikTok live. Mr. Guzzi is handling all the other production right now. We're the on-camera talent. And you can. And by the way, I always want to say this: Tiago is a world-class Las Vegas entertainer.
Yes.
It's ThiagoGusi.com.
Yep.
TiagoGuzi.com. He's got a whole lot of cool stuff in the pipeline. Follow this guy everywhere because he's going to blow you away. He's awesome.
Which is good to know, because when I tried to message him the other day, I forgot the H.
It happens.
It didn't work.
It happens.
It didn't work.
In Portuguese, it's Tiago.
Tiago. Just like in Italian, I'm Celentano.
He speaks Italian better than he speaks English.
There you go. Anyway, so enough of this craziness.
That's why he smells the way he does.
So obviously, we're here to discuss.
We're off to a great start.
Very serious things. That's all right. Listen, so when last we spoke, about almost exactly a week ago, or was it exactly a week ago, I was saying how, the conservatives
We're ignoring our third.
Oh, that's right.
We're ignoring our third guest.
Sorry. Yeah, our third guest. Yes, we actually had the president came by. But he only left his head because the rest of him was eaten by cannibals.
Oh,
so that's topical for
Very
anybody
topical.
who's following the news today.
That'll die quickly, but it's funny right now.
It's funny today. So when you watch it again, to go back, the news cycle should make sense. But yeah, as I had said last week, I said, in my opinion, conservatives have a very big branding problem.
Yes.
And so that's why we are trying to kind of kill that branding. So you may hear the odd swear. Yes, conservatives do swear. We're not all puritanical.
Nope.
And of course, we've got El Presidente to keep us in line here.
Sleepy Joe.
Yep, absolutely. So anyway, take it away, sir.
So essentially, today's episode, all politics is local.
Mm-hmm.
You might have heard that before, but it's really, really true. Even though the internet and phones and everyone's connected to everybody all over the world, politics, from the establishment's perspective, is local. You've got to organize your ground game locally, district by district, county by county, state by state. That's too much for us to handle. We feel like our responsibility as conservatives is to just get the word out as much as we can to the folks in our state and our districts. We're in Las Vegas, we're in Nevada. Everyone's welcome to join us. We're happy to reach out and encourage your efforts, but we can physically be involved in the state of Nevada and in Las Vegas in this election cycle.
Yeah. And the reason why I think, I think we both agree that this is so important is because, again, all politics is local.
Yes.
You can only really affect. Look, everybody can vote. Well, most people can vote. More people are going to be able to vote in this election, I think.
Actually, I saw, if I just might
Sure.
hop in for a second, I saw a meme today saying that O.J. Simpson will be voting for Biden.
Of course he will be. Of course he will.
He
Absolutely.
died, by the way.
Course.
He's no longer alive.
Yes,
That's
again,
why
very
it's
topical.
funny.
So the news
TikTok.
cycle is. So anyway, but that's so. Of course, we can vote in the national elections, and that's how we can kind of affect change on a larger national scale. But if you want to, the farthest reach you can have is in your own local community.
100%.
And that's something that I think a lot of us kind of ignore. We all get wrapped up in the national politics because it's on the news and it's topical.
Right.
But at the end of the day, the ground game happens in your city, state, all of that. So I have taken it upon myself to get a little more involved in that area, although I can certainly understand the wheels of local politics certainly move very slowly. There's a lot of bureaucracy, obviously. There's a lot of politics, of course.
Yeah.
These are things that I don't know how much time you've spent in this arena, but what are your impressions thus far? Because I've sent you a couple of links and tried to get you connected. And
there's more going on than I was aware of.
Yeah.
But the fact that I'm not aware of it is what concerns me. We have a brand new. Our governor is Governor Joe Lombardo. He's a Republican. He's a former law enforcement official for 30 years. Sheriff.
Yeah.
Very much America First guy. I mean, I'm very lucky I'm very glad that he won. I'm very glad that we have someone in that position of power who's on our side essentially. But the Congress and the Senate in Nevada, the state ones, are run by Democrats.
Yeah.
So he's kind of handcuffed a bit. But
and
again,
we don't see him a lot.
We don't see him a lot.
That's what kind of bugs me too. We saw Sisolak, but we don't see Lombardo.
Sisolak was everywhere. It's true. Lombardo's, talk about a branding issue. If I were his or her PR team, I'd be like, we got to get Joe out there. Go to the pizza parlors. Go to the ball games. Where are you, man?
Yeah.
Do some live streams a lot, because this is a critical election. So to get back to our point,
sure.
And also to connect the dots even more, think about this. What happens nationally is important, but what happens locally affects the way your kids are raised. I mean, like literally stuff directly. If they're going to mess up your highway for 2 years, I mean, things like that, where you live, how the roads, I mean, the schools. So it makes more sense to be invested more in what's happening where you can affect change. And then nationally, federally, you go, okay, I vote this way. And we're here to encourage you to do both, but we're really here to say, bloom where you're planted. All politics is local. Meet some people who are on your side and help get people elected who share your values.
Yeah, absolutely. And oftentimes, especially in an election year, the two will meet, national politics and local politics. For example, you went to an event with Charlie Kirk at UNLV.
Yes.
So local and national, something that got national attention.
Fantastic.
But then you're also planning on going on to like another local campaign event or whatever.
Stephanie Phillips.
Yeah.
Tomorrow I'll be at Parkway Tavern here in Las Vegas, West Flamingo location, supporting her rally. She's going to gather the troops and talk about her platform, how she can be a better senator than the two Democrats that we have now who are not doing a great job, in my opinion. And I'm going to do my best to rally the troops for her locally. Again, I guess the message of this show is Patriots only, please, nationally, but also locally. And not everyone, listen, no one understands more than us. We're busy, we're business owners, we're entertainers, we have a lot of families. But you carve out time for what's important. And when people say things like, I don't care about politics, what I don't say, but what I think in my head is, so you don't care about healthcare, banking, I mean, everything you do in life, unfortunately, the government regulates on some level. Everything, the money in your pocket. I mean, everything is regulated by the government too much. Part of what we believe, one of our core beliefs as conservatives, is a limited, smaller government. Get the government out of all that stuff, and things work a lot better. Capitalism works great when the government gets out of the way. The Democrats are the exact opposite. More government control, more government involvement, more regulations, more taxes, and it just mucks everything up, slows everything down, and makes everything more expensive. We're living through that right now. We're living through that right now. So if you need any more evidence about what it's like to live under a Republican administration and a Democrat one, compare Trump's time minus COVID to Biden's current time, and you can see the drastic empirical differences.
On
the
a
numbers
national level. And how does that affect you locally as well?
Exactly.
And again, the only place where you can really affect change is on your local level. So vote. So your Congress, your representatives, you're in the Congress and the Senate on the state level, and the ones that the national ones that go out to Washington D.C. And there's also obviously the governor and assembly people and judges. Well, although judges are supposed to be, but still, it's. That's where you're seeing like the national, the trickle down effect from the national, whatever the edicts that come down from DC, to how those are interpreted in your state, like how the governor happens to interpret that, how the rest of the legislation happens to interpret that. So, I mean, again, I'm kind of rambling here.
No, you're not, but I know what you mean, and it's actually almost a pedagogological issue. That's a big word.
That's a $20 word.
It's actually a very strong theoretical difference between Republicans and Democrats. Republicans cling to the truth, which is the United States is a constitutional republic. It is not a democracy. The word democracy does not appear in the Constitution. You won't find the word democracy anywhere. You'll see the word democratic. But we're not.
Fact check that, someone.
Do it.
Anyone who wants to fact check.
We're not a democracy. We're a constitutional republic. And what that means is each state has its own state constitution over which the federal government has some say. But we saw during Trump's administration, when Trump wanted to send troops in to help cities that were getting attacked by BLM, the governor of those Democratic states went, nope. And he couldn't do it. That's the separation that we think makes this country great. Unfortunately, Biden and his far left cronies believe, we'll do whatever we want. Supreme
We'll
Court
have complete say over
Supreme
your
Court Supreme Court says we can't pay off student loans. We'll do a workaround.
Yeah.
$132 billion workaround. Take your tax money and pay off someone else's loan.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And
for them,
most
not
people would
for
say,
me. I paid off my own loans.
Yeah, and most of the people who, oh, I don't follow politics. Well, then how does that? What would you say to them? Is that how does that directly affect me? Because, for example, in the state of Nevada, we don't have state tax.
That's right.
But that will roll down into other things. Yep. They're going to get it somewhere.
Yes, they are.
So when the federal, if it's coming down from the top, yep. That's going to affect how that is interpreted in the rest of the state. Okay, maybe we don't have state taxes, but
I think it's a very critical issue. Like, so when Roe versus Wade got overturned, mm-hmm. which on our side is a big victory. For a lot of people, it's not. It didn't get rid of abortion. Abortion is not illegal. It's just a state-by-state choice. That's all it means. It means back to the way the country was founded. Each state has the right to have its own constitution and enact laws that they think match the values of their constituents in that state. That's mm-hmm. all it means. No one's outlawing anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, again, all politics is local. If you're in California and you're a red-hearted conservative Republican, mm-hmm. you're going to be very frustrated.
Yes.
I'm not saying move. I'm not telling you how to live your life. We would never do that. But maybe you can get more Republicans on the board of the city. I mean, your county, your whatever. Just anywhere that you, again, bloom where you're planted. Anything that you can do to help get people to share your values, which in our case are conservative Republican values.
Sure.
We encourage you to do that any way that you can. Online, supporting candidates, going to rallies. You carve out time for what's important.
Yeah.
When I was back in the day when Jeff and I were both doing network marketing, we've since gotten out of it. At least I have.
Yeah. Oh God.
This is a line they would always say. They would say, "Okay, so you're telling me you don't have time to figure out a way to make passive income for yourself?" And someone would say, "No, I'm completely booked." Okay, what if I told you that there's $20 million in gold buried in your backyard? Would you find time to dig it up? Like, I probably would. Like, okay, this is $20 million worth of gold because this is going to determine the next 4 years of all of our lives on the federal level and on the state level. If you sit this one out, you're making a mistake.
Absolutely.
We encourage you to get involved. Vote have the courage of your convictions. Vote accordingly. We encourage you to vote the way that we see the world because we think it makes the most sense. We think this guy right here, Joe Biden, has lost his mind. He's gone way too far to the left. He's dividing the country more than he's uniting it. Prices are out of control. There's been enough illegal immigrants that have entered this country to fill 36 states.
Yeah.
This is unheard of activity. This is not normal. And the Democrats want us to act like this is just cost of doing business.
Well,
it's not true.
He has clearly lost his head.
That's funny.
Look, and again, as much as it rolls downhill from D.C., it also rolls back up because, again, another reason why it's important to get more involved in your local political landscape is because there's, as much as we piss and moan about the corruption in D.C., there's plenty of it happening on your local level as well. Even just your county level, of course, at the state level. So, again, if you want to try to keep the politicians in D.C. accountable, well, it starts with keeping your local representatives accountable as well. So just another reason to keep that in mind. And I understand there's a lot of people, I still don't know what every elected position happens.
No,
like a lot of people don't know, what does the assembly person do?
Right.
What does the county commissioner do? What does the, you know what I mean?
Right.
So I know that it's a lot of information to take in.
Yeah.
And it's a whole other subject as to why they're not teaching this shit in school. I have my 18-year-old daughter who is finishing government class, you know what I mean? Doesn't know shit about, how anything beyond like the three branches of government. Now, I can expect that from, say, somebody who isn't from this country, but ironically, the people who immigrate here legally usually end up knowing way more. My Canadian wife knows way more than my 18-year-old daughter who was born and raised here. So all of that to say...
We hope they're not going to watch this show, because if they hear that, you're going to move in with me.
Well,
and it's going to be rough.
Do you have an extra room?
I do.
You got that couch that you were telling me about?
I do, but it's for Joe. Joe's got his own spot.
So he'll be looking over.
He'll
but again, all of that to say is that we get involved on your local level and understand how the machine works in your area, your city, your county, your state, all of that.
What I keep thinking about right now, since we're having this conversation, is this Fani Willis. So she's one of the attorney generals in the state of Georgia,
who got elected by her constituency. So the nuts that are running the asylum were given permission to run the asylum.
My point is, if you watched her deposition, if you watch the way she handled herself on trial, she's the attorney general. She lives in court. I've never seen a more brazen, disgusting, who gives a shit, you can't touch me, I'm not going anywhere. She could have cared less, and she kept her gig. She didn't lose her job, and she stayed on the case. Now, the dude got kicked off, her lover, but there's all kinds of civil stuff behind it. She's going to be in a lot. I think her career is going to be short-lived, but that's an example of someone in a position of power who should never have been there, but people just don't pay attention.
Now, some people, in fairness, would say that about Trump. He's brazen. He should have never been in that position of power. I get it. But there's also, I mean, there's clear bias and clear, I mean, like, don't even get me started on the trial that's happening in New York.
Sure, it's crazy.
But I will say, and again, this is topical and it's in the news cycle today, but I will say that if anybody's going to make the most of their time, it's like, all right, fine. If I'm stuck in New York, I'm going to make as many friends and gain as many followers and fans and voters in this state. Watch me take them away from you one by one.
Yeah.
And the news will be there to watch it all happen.
Yeah.
Look at what happened yesterday, when he went to visit a bodega in Manhattan.
Loved him. He's a man of the people. He's not a DC politician. He never has been.
Yeah.
This guy is an example of what happens when a career politician, 50 years in, bought and sold so many times you can't even keep track of it. I mean, so many.
The embodiment of the swamp creature.
Yes.
Exactly, the embodiment of the swamp creature. So I mean, again, all of this to say, get involved. If you don't like what you're seeing on the street, if wherever you're living, if there's too much craziness going on, if the prices are insane, if gas prices, if the grocery, whatever, inflation, of course, there's national metrics that measure all of this.
Right.
But there's also very real local metrics that measure all of this. And to listen to some bureaucrat, whether it's the president or rather the resident or whoever else
the resident
is running the show in DC, tell you, oh, inflation's not that bad.
Yep.
It's like, do you shop at my store? Do you see did you see the gas prices? Like, really? So yes, hate on the national scene all you want, absolutely, and make the right choice when the day arrives that you are given that choice, and just look at your own situation. Whether you got to hold your nose and vote for the other guy, I get it, but look at your situation. And just because some bureaucrat is telling you it's fine, we've slowed inflation, motherfucker, it's not slowed in my store, it's not at my gas station.
No. Politicians want to get reelected. It's very hard to remove a sitting president. Look what the lengths they had to go through to remove Trump. It's crazy. And now they're trying to put him in prison. So this is the most corrupt president in my lifetime, maybe in the history of the country. He could care less. He's near the end of his life. I don't think he has much to lose. He's going to go out swinging for the Democrats. We need to vote him out, and all voting is local. How do you say it better than I do, that tagline?
Well, all politics is local.
All politics is local. Yeah. So to wrap things up,
yes,
we thank you for your kind attention. PatriotsOnlyPlease.com is the website. We want to thank Azura. We want to thank Tiago Guzzi. We want to point there. Subscribe, like, comment, and share. We're going to bring more and more episodes to you as we move through the calendar year, moving up to the election and afterward. We want to build a bigger following. Please follow us. Please reach out to us. You can there's contact information on the site. We want to speak to fellow patriots all over the world. We want to speak to fellow patriots in Nevada, the West Coast of the United States, in Brazil. I mean, we just want to connect with like-minded people and not feel so isolated, because let's face it, the left has got a pretty strong hold on the media, on pretty much everything that we see publicly.
Yeah.
It's tough to find a voice sometimes through all that noise, but we're here. We're not going anywhere. The silent majority is getting less silent by the second.
Absolutely.
And this DIY approach to getting information out is very, very important. We encourage you guys to do it any way that you can, but most importantly, if you can support people in your districts, in your states, cities that share your values, even if it's just online, going to a rally, encouraging people to vote in a certain way, it can make a difference. Small change can lead to big change.
Absolutely. Amen. So thank you, whoever is watching this now,
thank
whoever
you, TikTok.
might be watching this later. Thank you, TikTok. Thank you, YouTube. And again, subscribe. This website will be up. It should be up by the time we're done with this. I think it might already be up.
Joe needs to go. Joe,
Yes.
you need to go.
Oh, there you go. Joe needs to go.
needs to go.
We are available on all platforms at Patriots Only Please. So Facebook/Patriots Only Please, Instagram Patriots Only Please.
If I may.
Yes, absolutely.
Well done.
Yeah, likewise.
Thanks so much, guys.
See you on the next one.